Yo, yo, how we doing? How we doing? Let's get this going. Probably see the usuals pop in a few minutes, few seconds. Might as well start running through some stuff. DXYZ, nice little bounce there on Friday. Bit of a choppier backside, so not something I am super interested in playing the reversal. But the higher this bounces, Q, what's going on? But the higher this bounces back into prior daily resistance, ideally looks something like this, where you get that big fade. The bounces fail, and can just get like a multi-week fader. So I'd be looking for gap up, failed follow through, higher the better. Could be up into 37s, could be up into 40s, but am noting that this 30, once it broke, it reclaimed fairly easily, which I would have noted as a pretty big support level, and it held it on a retest there on Friday. So higher the better, and look for failed follow through, and then I'd want to see 30s confirm that thesis before holding my bias for a multi-week fade. Palantir, yeah, this thing's going nuts. Stan over at IU is there's 2020 right here, and you can see like these choppy days, and then you get the one gap up, blow off gap, exhaustion, volume starts speeding up, and that's when you get the pullback. So Palantir is not really in an A plus spot for me. I'd want to see it get that 2 or 3 day extension. But Stan over at IU was comparing it to SMCI back through 350. Well, we'll be 35 now after their reverse split. But you get that big episodic pivot, and then you just get kind of that steady grind. And basically, if you wait until this, where you get the gap to gap on blowout volume, the same kind of thing that Palantir did back in 2020. Right here, when you get the gap to gap on blowout volume, you get that nice pullback day, and I think that's the most predictable move. So now that it's had a nice range expansion on a bit of increased volume, ideally we get that gap to gap at the beginning of next week. If it wants to go, 3 days and blow off into Thursday, that'd be even better. But I won't be trying to fight it. If it pulls back before that parabolic, then that kind of setup's not in my playbook. Because otherwise, I just see it as I could be wanting to short it any other day. So sometimes it works, and I know guys like Nate like to trade these as daily drivers, and I just lose over time trying to trade them like that. Q is watching XBI. Yeah, we've got this biotech sector that's getting smoked. A lot of my fader scan, I had over 200 names on my fader scan, and a lot of them were biotechs. So you've got stuff like XBI, and then you've still got stuff like SPY, the Qs, and then LABU is another ETF in the biotech space. So you've got a bunch of BART markets as the headwind pulling stuff with them. LABU, I like this blowout range and volume into Friday. So if you can get that gap down washout, I do like that look. 2 more green days in Palantir, increase volume and range, yes sir. Frey, I ended up stopping out of this one, out of my swing on Friday. It just gapped down in the 230s and broke prior day's lows, broke this higher low trend line, and didn't stay firm on that trend. Once 240 broke, I would have expected it to have a bit more strength. So I had to cut the loss on that one. Finally get to catch you hard live. It's hard to catch. I must be dyslexic. I just read that completely backwards. Finally get to catch you live. Hard to do. Oh, from New Brunswick. Maybe? If he's Canadian. That's what New Brunswick is here. NB. Unless that's something else in the States. I don't know. But in Canada, it's New Brunswick. Nice. Okay. Cool. Very cool. Yes, quite the time zone difference. Maybe 3 or 4 hours over there apart. So I understand. Bitcoin names, they're still holding up near their highs. After this parabolic day, we've got this volume drying up. So it's not really exhausting. Most of the bag holders are down here at lower prices. So I like that this keeps holding these higher lows. And basically until it's below 16, you got about a $5 or $6 gap back down to power volume profile levels. But the way this is holding up makes me favor the long side. Obviously, you need Bitcoin to confirm, so that could be in the cards as well. So I wouldn't hold a bias. I wouldn't just buy it at market open and hope it goes up. But if Bitcoin agrees and this daily chart continues to hold up, I like BTCS as well. We've had a couple pullback days, a bit higher, more consistent volume on this one, a lot less thin, trades thicker. It's pulled back to prior support twice. Sorry. Sorry, 1 second. El Jefe in the house. Yeah, so BTCS, this one is following the first Green Day playbook, and we've got these wicks that keep getting bought up into close. It's held this one below its previous day's close. It was green, but then this day held red for its first red day. Had a nice pullback, recovered fairly well into the close, right there. And that coincides with this prior support. So if we can get a gap down and flush out 370s, 380s, and then join an opening range high break, or even buy that flush if it's straight down, I don't hate that. But the opening range highs have been set off the open the last couple days. So if that can firm up, I wouldn't mind a bigger picture idea. As long as BTCT confirms, Bitcoin confirms, I don't hate the looks on those. Watching IU Sunday Scan and jump here to watch the live. I'll finish it later. I like to hear it. I'll give Chris and Stan a hard time. I'll text them in a minute and tell them I'm stealing their viewership. That's good. Qubit. I had tweeted about this Thursday late in the evening after we had done our watch list. Late in the evening, they put out an offering, registered direct offering, priced at $250, if my memory serves me right. So I knew it was going to gap down, and it kind of ruined that A+ opportunity because this was the main watch going into Friday. Then the offering kind of ruined it. So I joined it small off the open just because we got this straight up shove. But I was out all of it into here. I took that little 30-cent move. Just because I didn't have the conviction on either a gap up or a slight gap down. MVST was a watch on that day too. I didn't think it was done, but liquidity is still drying up and price is not going away. So I will still keep this one on watch, but I'll be waiting for this $1 area to prove. Omer, possible kind of liquidity trap, you could call it, little T+1 style trade. Let me see here. I think it was earnings, but I just want to check before I speak out of turn. Yes. Yeah, the move was on earnings, and it is holding up. Prior day's view app here, right there in the 650, 660 range, which is Friday's lows. If this confirms over 7, I think game on for a 780 to 820 move. But I do like this as a potential long off week open tomorrow, and join that trend as long as 660s doesn't fail and act as a top. I could see this for a second leg, just having that big volume day, 1 day consolidation, keeping shorts in there for the prior day. And you got that earnings fundamental catalyst as a tailwind, helping hold it up. FSL, let's take a look. Yeah, yes, that was a nice move, nice little multi-day run. I was hoping it was going to hold up for that third day, going from the mid 5s to 9s. I was hoping it was going to hold up and potentially set up for Monday, but that round tripped intraday, so I ended up missing that one. I was a bit too greedy for wanting an A+ opportunity there. PULM, little multi-day runner, kind of an inside day there with lower volume, so I'd like to see this one kind of trot up a bit higher, and just keep an eye on it. Multi-day run, but don't want to lose it off radar. Nothing I love immediately. I did trade this, where were we here? Right here. This failed follow through setup here. I had a 540 entry. We had this parabolic, stuff, pullback, big slam. So right through here, I started some versus high a day. And then once we got this fail, I put some on right here. Confirmation, prior support becomes resistance. And once it wicked and saved, I was all out here. So only took like 20 cents on that one. Was expecting a bit lower, but it just did not want to fade, so that's a sign for me that this is not ready for a pullback yet. And then LABD inverse of the LABU. This is an inverse of the SPY Biotechs, which is the opposite of LABU. Coming up into the daily view app, which I think is kind of notable, into the $7 whole dollar range. Nice steady grind and possible opening range lows. So ideally a gap up on this, and ideally a gap down on the sector, and look to join that trend for a mean reversion reversal. TMQ on much lower volume, unfortunately. So we'll see how week opens act on this. This was a watch here through the 110s. So now that it's firmed up over the 110s, I want to see a week open, maybe a PR or something like that. Get some volume to come in, and ideally 110s continues to hold. Don't want to get in the same situation as Frey, where it just gets slammed on day 2. So TMQ, I'm going to wait for a bit more confirmation. As long as 110 acts as a base, I'd look for a rebreak at 130 and join that for higher. It does have a history of 1-day moves, so this could easily be the top and pull back. So I will keep that one on watch. Then CVRX, almost no volume here, trading a few 100K a day. But it is moving like on its big days here, $2. So, if you put on 500,000 shares or something and let it work for $2, it's a nice little, that's a nice little wallet pad type deal. So now that we've had this big multi-day move, you get that pullback day, sideways action here in the mid 13s, and sort of this little bear flag. So once it confirms here under 1360s, then I think you get another leg down. Looking left, back sub 13. So just a little quiet idea there. But I think that's about it. Bitcoin names, DXYZ, biotech names, ETFs. You could be looking at stuff like TQs and SQs. They're starting to mean revert, or not mean revert yet, but they're starting to pull back and bounce. So it could be mean reversion trade setting up there as well. But yeah, and we'll keep Palantir on watch. Ideally, this one keeps going higher. So I think that's about it. Thank you guys for hopping on. And yeah, hopefully you guys trade them well there on Monday. As always, get in where you fit in, make some memories, and I'll see you guys in the room. Peace.